Why you get déjà vu? A glitch in your brain. That spooky feeling that you've lived this exact moment before isn't a glitch in the Matrix. It's a glitch in your brain, and scientists finally figured out what's actually happening when you experience it. You're standing in a place you've never been before, talking to someone you just met, and suddenly everything feels weirdly familiar. You know you've never experienced this moment, but your brain is absolutely convinced that you have. It's one of the strangest feelings you can have, and almost everyone experiences it at some point. That feeling is called déjà vu, which is French for already seen, and for a long time scientists had no idea what caused it. But now we understand it's actually your brain making a very specific type of mistake. Today I'm going to show you exactly what's happening in your head when déjà vu strikes, and why it happens more often to some people than others. Here's what makes déjà vu so strange and unsettling. It's not just a vague sense of familiarity. When you're having déjà vu, your brain is sending you a very strong signal that says, you have definitely experienced this before. It's not uncertain, it's not a maybe. It feels like a fact. But at the same time, you consciously know that's impossible. You know you've never been in this exact situation before. You can logically confirm that this is a new experience. So you end up with this weird contradiction where part of your brain is absolutely certain you've lived this moment already, while another part of your brain knows that's not true. This creates a really uncomfortable feeling. Your brain is disagreeing with itself. It's like getting two different answers from two equally confident sources, and you don't know which one to trust. That's why déjà vu feels so eerie and unsettling. It's not just a memory thing. It's your brain sending you contradictory information about reality. For a long time, people came up with all kinds of explanations for déjà vu. Some thought it was evidence of past lives. You were remembering something from a previous existence. Others thought it was precognition or psychic abilities. You had seen this moment in a dream or vision. Some believed it was a glitch in the simulation we're living in, like in the Matrix. These explanations are creative, but they're wrong. Déjà vu isn't supernatural or mystical. It's a brain error, a very specific, identifiable mistake that your brain makes under certain conditions. The problem is that déjà vu is really hard to study. It happens randomly, it only lasts a few seconds, and you can't predict when someone will experience it. Scientists can't just put someone in a lab and trigger déjà vu on command to study what's happening in their brain. But through careful research, brain imaging studies, and lots of people reporting their experiences, scientists have figured out several theories about what causes this strange phenomenon. And these theories explain not just what déjà vu is, but why certain people get it more often, why it happens in specific situations, and what it reveals about how your memory actually works. Understanding déjà vu is actually really important because it shows us how fragile and fallible our sense of reality is. We like to think our brains give us accurate information about the world, but déjà vu proves that your brain can be completely convinced of something that isn't true. And if your brain can make this mistake, what other mistakes might it be making that you don't even notice? Let me break down the leading scientific theories about what causes déjà vu, because each one reveals something different about how your brain processes reality and memory. Theory number one, split perception, the timing glitch. The first theory is called split perception, and it's probably the most mind-blowing one because it suggests déjà vu is caused by a tiny timing error in how your brain processes what you're seeing. Here's how it works. When you look at something, light enters both of your eyes and gets converted into electrical signals that travel to your brain. Normally, these signals from both eyes arrive at your visual processing centers at exactly the same time. Your brain combines the information from both eyes into one unified perception of what you're looking at. But sometimes, and we're talking about incredibly tiny time differences here, like fractions of a second, the signal from one eye arrives slightly before the signal from the other eye. Maybe there was a tiny delay in the neural pathway. Maybe one eye processed the information slightly faster. The exact reason doesn't matter. What matters is that one signal gets to your brain before the other. So here's what happens. The first signal arrives and your brain processes it. You see the room you're in, you register the scene, then a split second later, the second signal arrives from your other eye with the exact same information. But your brain doesn't recognize that this is the same moment being processed twice. Instead, it interprets the second signal as a separate moment that looks identical to the moment you just experienced. Boom, déjà vu. Your brain thinks you're seeing the same thing twice because technically you are, but it's not because you've been here before. It's because your eyes sent the information at slightly different times. Think of it like this. Imagine you're watching a live video stream, but the stream glitches and replays the same 2 seconds twice. The first time you see it, you think, okay, this is happening now. The second time you see it, you think, wait, didn't I just see this? That's basically what your brain is doing during split perception déjà vu. The reason this theory makes sense is that it explains why déjà vu is always about the present moment. You never experience déjà vu about something that happened yesterday or last week. It's always about what's happening right now. That's because it's not actually a memory error. It's a perception error. Your brain is processing the current moment twice in quick succession. This theory also explains why déjà vu usually only lasts a few seconds. Once the timing error corrects itself and both eyes are synced again, the weird feeling goes away. Your brain goes back to processing information normally, and you're left with just the memory of that strange moment where reality felt wrong. Studies using EEG to measure brain activity during déjà vu have found unusual patterns in the visual processing areas of the brain, which supports this theory. When people experience déjà vu, there's weird electrical activity in the parts of the brain that handle visual information, suggesting some kind of processing glitch. Theory number 2, memory misfire, the familiar pattern error. The second major theory is that déjà vu is caused by your memory system making a mistake. Specifically, it's your brain recognizing familiar elements in a new situation and incorrectly concluding that the entire situation is familiar. Your brain is constantly comparing what you're experiencing now to memories of past experiences. This is how you recognize places you've been before, people you've met before, situations you've encountered before. Your brain is basically running a matching algorithm all the time, checking new inputs against stored memories. Most of the time, this works perfectly. You walk into your own house and your brain says, yes, this matches the memory of home. You've been here before. You see your friend and your brain says, yes, this face matches the memory of your friend. The match is clear and complete. But sometimes your brain encounters a situation that has a lot of elements that match previous memories, even though the overall situation is new. Maybe you're in a new restaurant, but the layout is similar to another restaurant you've been to. The color of the walls reminds you of a different place. The smell is familiar from somewhere else. The music sounds like something you've heard before. None of these individual elements are exact matches to one specific memory, but your brain is getting all these partial matches at the same time, and it starts to feel like you've been here before. It's like when you see someone who looks a little bit like 3 different people you know. You have this sense of familiarity, even though you've never seen this specific person before. Here's where the error happens. Instead of your brain saying, this situation has familiar elements but is new overall, it shortcuts to, this situation is familiar, you've experienced it before. It's taking the partial matches and concluding a full match. That's the memory misfire that creates déjà vu. This theory explains why déjà vu often happens in new places that have a familiar vibe. You visit a new city and walk into a cafe you've never been to, but suddenly you get hit with déjà vu. That's because even though this specific cafe is new, it has enough similarities to other cafes you've been to that your brain gets confused and thinks you've been to this specific one before. It also explains why certain situations trigger déjà vu more than others. Situations with lots of generic common elements are more likely to have those partial matches that confuse your memory system. A generic office building, a standard hotel room, a typical suburban street. These are all environments with elements you've seen hundreds of times before in slightly different combinations. Scientists tested this theory by creating virtual reality environments that had familiar elements arranged in new ways. They found that people experience more déjà vu in these situations compared to completely novel environments or exact recreations of familiar places. The sweet spot for triggering déjà vu was having familiar pieces put together in unfamiliar ways. Your brain has a specific region called the hippocampus that's crucial for memory formation and recognition. Brain imaging studies show unusual activity in the hippocampus during déjà vu, which supports the idea that this is a memory processing error. There's also something called the familiarity pathway and the recollection pathway in your memory system. The familiarity pathway gives you that vague sense of, I've encountered this before, without specific details. The recollection pathway gives you actual detailed memories of when and where you encountered it. Déjà vu might be your familiarity pathway firing without the recollection pathway. So you get the feeling of familiarity, but you can't actually recall when you experienced it before because you didn't. Your brain is giving you the feeling without the supporting memory, which creates that weird contradiction. Theory number 3, attention split, the unconscious preview. The third theory is related to the first one, but instead of a split between your two eyes, it's about a split between your conscious and unconscious attention. Here's how this works. When you enter a new environment, your unconscious mind starts processing it before your conscious mind fully registers it. Maybe you glance at a room before you fully walk in. Maybe you see something in your peripheral vision before you look at it directly. Your brain is taking in information, but you're not consciously aware of it yet. Then a moment later, you consciously look at the scene and pay full attention to it. But your unconscious mind already processed this information a second ago. So when your conscious mind catches up, it feels familiar because part of your brain has already seen it. You just weren't consciously aware of that first viewing. This creates the sensation that you've been here before. In a way you have. Your unconscious mind was here 1 second before your conscious mind. But you interpret that tiny time gap as being a much longer time gap, like you experienced this moment days or weeks ago. This theory explains why déjà vu can happen even in completely novel situations with no familiar elements. It's not about recognizing patterns from the past. It's about your conscious mind being slightly behind your unconscious mind in processing the present. Studies on attention and consciousness support this idea. Your brain processes far more information than you're consciously aware of. You're constantly taking in details through peripheral vision, background sounds, and unconscious observations. Most of this information never makes it to your conscious awareness, but it's still being processed and stored by your brain. When there's a brief disconnect between unconscious processing and conscious awareness, you might get déjà vu. Your conscious mind is experiencing something your unconscious mind already previewed, and that preview creates the false sense of familiarity. Why some people get déjà vu more often. Now let's talk about why déjà vu doesn't happen equally to everyone. Some people experience it frequently, like several times a month. Other people rarely or never experience it. And for most people, it was more common when they were younger and has become less frequent as they've gotten older. Age is a huge factor. Déjà vu is most common in people between the ages of 15 and 25. It gradually becomes less frequent as you get older. By the time people are over 60, many report rarely experiencing déjà vu anymore. Why would this be? The leading theory is that younger brains are more neurologically active and flexible. Your neural pathways are firing more rapidly, making new connections, processing information quickly. This increased activity makes the timing errors and processing glitches that cause déjà vu more likely to happen. As you age, your brain becomes more stable and settled. Neural pathways become more established. Processing becomes more routine and less likely to glitch, so déjà vu becomes less common. Stress and fatigue also increase the likelihood of déjà vu. When you're tired or stressed, your brain isn't operating at peak efficiency. The timing of signals gets sloppy. The memory matching algorithm makes more mistakes. Attention splits more easily between conscious and unconscious processing. This is why people often report experiencing déjà vu during periods of high stress, after sleep deprivation, or when they're mentally exhausted. Your brain is more likely to make the errors that cause déjà vu when it's not functioning optimally. There's also some evidence that certain medications and substances can increase déjà vu frequency. Anything that affects neural firing rates or brain chemistry can potentially make these glitches more likely. Some people seem to be naturally more prone to déjà vu than others, which might be related to individual brain structure or chemistry. If your visual processing pathways naturally have slightly inconsistent timing, you might experience split perception déjà vu more often. If your memory system is particularly aggressive about matching patterns, you might experience memory misfire déjà vu more often. Interestingly, people who travel frequently or experience lots of novel situations report more déjà vu. This makes sense under the memory misfire theory. If you're constantly encountering new places with familiar elements, you're creating more opportunities for your brain to make pattern-matching errors. There's also a connection between déjà vu and epilepsy. People with temporal lobe epilepsy often experience déjà vu as part of their seizures. This has helped scientists understand which parts of the brain are involved in déjà vu. The temporal lobes, which include the hippocampus and other memory centers, seem to be crucial for both normal déjà vu and epilepsy-related déjà vu. Here's what I think is the most important thing to understand about déjà vu. It's not just a weird feeling that happens sometimes. It's proof that your perception of reality is constructed by your brain, and that construction process can make mistakes. You probably think of your conscious experience as being directly connected to reality. You see what's really there. You remember what really happened. Your brain gives you accurate information about the world. But déjà vu shows that's not true. Your brain can be absolutely convinced that something happened when it didn't. It can give you a powerful feeling of certainty about something that's completely false. And this isn't because you're broken or malfunctioning. It's just how brains work. Every brain does this sometimes. What's scary about déjà vu is that it's one of the few times you catch your brain making this mistake. Because the mistake is so obvious. You know you haven't been here before. You can recognize that your brain is giving you false information. But what about all the times your brain makes similar mistakes and you don't catch them? What about false memories that feel completely real? What about biases in how you perceive people or situations? What about all the tiny glitches and errors that happen in your perception and memory that aren't as obvious as déjà vu? Déjà vu is like catching a glimpse behind the curtain. It reveals that your experience of reality is not a direct feed. It's a constructed model created by your brain, and sometimes that model has errors. This doesn't mean you should distrust everything your brain tells you. Your brain is remarkably good at its job most of the time, but it does mean you should hold your certainty a little more lightly. If your brain can be completely wrong about whether you've experienced something before, it can be wrong about other things too. The silver lining is that déjà vu is harmless. It's not a sign of a medical problem unless it's happening extremely frequently or is associated with other symptoms like confusion or memory loss. For most people, it's just a weird quirk of how brains process information. And honestly, it's kind of cool that we can experience this glitch and be aware of it happening. It's one of those rare moments where you get to observe your own brain making a mistake in real time. That's pretty unique. Let me recap what we've learned about déjà vu and why it happens. Déjà vu is that eerie feeling that you've experienced the current moment before, even though you know logically that you haven't. It happens to almost everyone at some point, but it's not supernatural or mystical. It's a brain error. The first major theory is split perception. This says that déjà vu happens when the visual signal from one of your eyes reaches your brain slightly before the signal from your other eye. Your brain processes the same moment twice in quick succession, which makes it feel like you've experienced it before. This explains why déjà vu is always about the present moment and only lasts a few seconds. The second theory is memory misfire. This says that déjà vu happens when you encounter a new situation that has lots of familiar elements. Your brain recognizes the familiar patterns and incorrectly concludes that the entire situation is familiar. You're getting partial matches to multiple memories, and your brain shortcuts to thinking this is a complete match to one memory. This explains why déjà vu often happens in new places that feel generically familiar. The third theory is attention split. This says that your unconscious mind processes a scene before your conscious mind fully registers it. When your conscious attention catches up a second later, the scene feels familiar because your unconscious already saw it. You're remembering your own unconscious preview, but you interpret it as a memory from much longer ago. All three theories might be correct for different instances of déjà vu. It's probably not just one cause, but several different brain glitches that all produce the same weird feeling. Déjà vu is most common in young people between 15 and 25, and it becomes less frequent as you age. This is because younger brains are more active and flexible, which makes timing errors and processing glitches more likely. Stress, fatigue, and sleep deprivation also increase the likelihood of déjà vu because they make your brain more prone to errors. The important takeaway is that déjà vu reveals how your perception of reality is constructed by your brain rather than being a direct feed. Your brain can give you powerful feelings of certainty about things that aren't true. Déjà vu is one of the few times you catch your brain making this mistake because the error is so obvious. For most people, déjà vu is harmless and just a weird quirk of how brains work. It's not something to worry about unless it's happening extremely frequently or is associated with other symptoms. It's just your brain making a small, temporary mistake in how it processes information. Next time you experience déjà vu, you'll know what's actually happening. It's not a glitch in the matrix or a memory from a past life. It's just your brain processing information slightly wrong. And that wrong processing creates the sensation that you've lived this moment before. It's a feature, not a bug. Or actually, it is a bug, but it's a harmless one that every human brain has. The weirdness of déjà vu is part of what makes being human interesting. We walk around thinking we have a clear, accurate view of reality, and then our brains throw us these moments where we realize how much of our experience is actually constructed interpretation rather than direct observation. Déjà vu is a reminder that your mind is far stranger and more complex than your everyday experience might suggest. Subscribe for more explanations of why your brain does weird things.